At a time when every penny counts and thousands of pensioners are quietly struggling behind closed doors, a powerful financial lifeline is quietly supporting nearly 1.7 million older people across Great Britain. It's called Attendance Allowance, and while you may not have heard much about it, it's currently putting up to £110.40 a week into the pockets of the most vulnerable, helping them cover the rising cost of daily care, mobility support, and household bills. But behind this essential support system lies a complex web of rules, reporting requirements, and government oversight that can change your entitlement without you even realizing. In today's report, we uncover exactly how attendance allowance works, how your payments might be at risk if you don't report key life changes, and why the Department for Work and Pensions is urging claimants, especially in Scotland, to stay alert as major changes roll out. Let's start with the basics. Attendance allowance is a tax-free benefit designed to help people over state pension age who have a disability or health condition that makes it hard to look after themselves. And it's not just for physical conditions. Mental health conditions, sensory impairments, learning difficulties, or even severe frailty can all qualify. As of August last year, nearly 1.7 million people were receiving attendance allowance, with around 150,000 of those in Scotland. That's a massive population relying on this critical support, receiving either £73.90 or £110.40 a week, depending on the severity of their care needs. That works out to between £295.60 and £441.60 every 4 weeks, a meaningful sum, especially for someone on a fixed income. But here's where things get complicated. What many claimants don't realize is that the amount you receive can change, and fast, if your circumstances change and you don't report it in time. That could mean more money for those who now need more help. But it could also mean overpayments, penalties, or even legal trouble if the DWP finds out you didn't report a change. The Department for Work and Pensions has made it clear, claimants must report key changes in their personal circumstances, and failure to do so could result in having to pay back benefits, facing fines, or even court action. The official guidance, as published on gov.uk, states clearly that if you give incorrect information or fail to report a change, you may be taken to court or be forced to repay money you weren't entitled to receive. So what are these changes you need to report immediately? Let's walk through them, because if even one applies to you or someone you care for, it's absolutely crucial that you contact the Attendance Allowance helpline. If the level of help you need changes, maybe you now require help more frequently, or you've developed a new health condition, you need to let the DWP know. For example, if you now need help getting dressed both in the morning and at night, that change could move you from the lower to the higher rate. But the DWP can't make that adjustment unless you tell them. If you go into hospital or a care home, you must provide the address, the date you were admitted, and explain how your stay is being paid for. Why? Because your attendance allowance can be affected, and in some cases, it may be paused depending on how long you're in care. The same applies if a medical professional has told you that you might have 12 months or less to live, in which case you may qualify for fast-tracked support through what's known as a special rules claim. If you plan to leave the country for more than 4 weeks, whether it's for a long visit to family or an extended holiday, the DWP needs to know. You should also contact them if you enter prison, or if your name, address, or bank details change. Other changes that must be reported include switching your doctor, a change in immigration status if you're not a British citizen, or if you simply decide you want to stop claiming the benefit altogether. It's a long list, and for good reason. Every change in circumstance can affect how much you're entitled to and whether you're still eligible at all. But here's the good news. Sometimes, these changes actually mean you're entitled to more support, not less. If you're finding it harder to manage daily tasks, or if your condition has worsened over time, you could be due a higher rate. The DWP encourages claimants to come forward if they now need more help or supervision throughout the day or night. That might mean help getting in and out of bed, eating meals, using the toilet, bathing, or just staying safe. Even if you aren't currently receiving help, but feel you need it more often, you may be eligible for more financial support. And remember, attendance allowance is not just for physical disabilities. If you have a mental health condition, learning difficulties, or a sensory condition such as blindness or deafness, you may still qualify for extra help. But what if you live in Scotland? In that case, it's important to know that attendance allowance is being gradually replaced by a new benefit called the pension age disability payment. All current attendance allowance claimants in Scotland will be transferred to the new system by the end of this year. However, until that transfer takes place, claimants must continue to report any changes to the DWP. So, what kinds of health conditions typically qualify someone for attendance allowance? The list is extensive and includes over 50 physical or mental health conditions. Some of the most common include arthritis, back pain, blindness, deafness, heart disease, asthma, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, and dementia. But it also includes less visible conditions like psychosis, personality disorders, chronic pain syndromes, diabetes, and even terminal illnesses such as cancer or AIDS. In fact, if you have any long-term health condition that affects your ability to care for yourself or stay safe on your own, it's worth checking your eligibility. You could be receiving hundreds of pounds each month in tax-free support. And here's a key point that often gets overlooked. Attendance allowance is not means-tested. That means your savings, your income, and even your state pension don't affect your eligibility. You can still claim attendance allowance even if you own your home, have a private pension, or are still working. It's also completely tax-free, and it won't be capped under the benefit cap, so it won't reduce any other benefits you receive. In fact, in many cases, receiving attendance allowance could unlock even more support like higher rates of pension credit, reduced council tax, or extra help with housing costs. The money you receive through attendance allowance is yours to spend however you need. Whether that's on hiring a cleaner, paying for taxis to get to appointments, covering energy bills, or hiring someone to help you with cooking and shopping, the money is intended to help you stay independent and remain in your home for as long as possible. So if you or someone you love is over state pension age and struggling with the cost of daily care, it may be time to re-evaluate your entitlement. Have your needs changed? Do you now need help at night? Has your condition progressed? These are questions worth asking. The DWP's Attendance Allowance Helpline is open Monday to Friday, from 8 am to 6 p.m. You can call them on 800 731 122 to report changes, ask questions, or start a new claim. And if you're in Scotland, keep an eye on the transition to the new pension age disability payment, but don't wait. The DWP must still be notified of any changes until your case officially transfers. In an era where so many older people are silently facing rising costs, isolation, and worsening health, attendance allowance is one of the few lifelines that exists to provide direct, meaningful support. But it's up to you to ensure the DWP knows about your situation, because only then can they ensure you're receiving the help you truly need. If you found this information helpful, please consider sharing it with friends, neighbors, or family members who might also be eligible for attendance allowance but are unsure how to navigate the system. Many people simply